Orlovsky, Mina Kimes, Marcus Spears is here. Let's get to this Cowboys-Ravens game, guys, in just 3 hours. Dan, what are you watching out for in a typical 2020 Tuesday night football?
Yeah, all eyes on that defense, all weight on that defense in Baltimore. And it's not just playing well. They got to play to set that offense up with short fields. They got to be motivated to score themselves. We know some of the injuries on that offense, so they got to carry this football team, creating turnovers and creating short fields for the offense tonight and moving forward.
I'm watching rookie running back J.K. Dobbins. It's been a committee in Baltimore so far this year, but as Dan said, this team is injured. You need to take over in this game because this Dallas run defense was last seen in Antonio Gibson's rearview mirror. This is a tremendous opportunity for the young back.
Oh, what up, Dez B? This big bro. Hey, listen, I know you're going back to Dallas. I know you want to show off. You've been around this Ravens organization now. I just hope that Greg Roman has a plan for Dez Bryant in this game. Not only to help Lamar Jackson possibly, but to also look for another weapon that we've been screaming that the Baltimore Ravens need. I hope the X is thrown up tonight, y'all.
Hey, South Antonio in Baltimore and just 3 hours away from kickoff. What should we know, Sal, about the time off for the Ravens?
Laura, moments ago, I talked to someone high up in the Ravens organization who said the team is, quote, very anxious to play in this game tonight, unquote, against the Dallas Cowboys, especially on defense. Tonight, they get back Brandon Williams, defensive tackle, who's been out with an ankle injury, and Calais Campbell, defensive end, who's been out with a calf injury. They will start in the same game for the first time since November 8th, and that was the last time the Ravens won a football game. Laura?
All right, more Sal Pal coming later in the show. Now let's get to Adam Schefter. Lamar Jackson off the reserve COVID-19 list, expected to start tonight. But what should we be looking out for, Adam, out of the Ravens quarterback in just a couple hours?
Look, Laura, he's bouncing back from the virus, and it's hard to forecast how each player responds to that virus. And if you speak to people around the league, executives and coaches and other teams, they say their players sometimes have struggled in their returns. They've had to deal with stamina and conditioning issues. Some players have lost weight. Lamar Jackson already was a fairly thin player playing the quarterback position. And I think the Ravens tonight don't know exactly what they're going to be getting from Lamar Jackson. And I think there'll be a question as to whether he can play the full game, whether he'll play 3/4 of the game, whatever it may be. But they'll be watching him tonight to see how he responds in his first game back from the virus. And the fact that this game was moved to this date, Tuesday night, as opposed to being played last Thursday night, gave Lamar the chance to play. But the question is how he plays and how much he plays, and we'll get an idea of that tonight once the game kicks off at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, Adam, the Ravens looking to avoid their first 4-game losing streak since 2016 tonight. More from you coming. Mina, how big a deal is it if Lamar can't play the whole game tonight?
It's a huge deal. I mean, there are already so many players out or banged up on this offense. They're missing Mark Andrews, probably his most important weapon. Willie Snead, who's been a real outlet for him. And as I mentioned earlier with respect to J.K. Dobbins, the weakness of this Dallas defense has been stopping the run. Baltimore's run game is predicated on Lamar Jackson being on the field. You know, yes, J.K. Dobbins is a great young back. I like Gus Edwards, but they're so helped by Lamar also being in that offense. Without him, suddenly you have questions like, what is this offense? What is their identity? How are they going to put it all together? Dan mentioned earlier that the defense, it's really on them to win this game, but they're still going to have to put some points on the board.
Yeah, my mind goes to two areas. Number one, this isn't a must-win game, but it's a must-win game for Baltimore. And I don't know Lamar personally, but I know he's a ridiculously intense competitor. I'd be shocked if Lamar didn't find a way to play in this game and play as well as he possibly could. I'll play the game that if he doesn't or can't, Trace McSorley is the backup now, RG3 on IR, right? So Trace McSorley is still a young player, but he was one of those quarterbacks that, you know, played the quarterback run, the zone read game. He was at Penn State with Saquon Barkley, playing under Joe Moorhead. I called a game of his. So at least the scheme of the offense can remain somewhat the same. You're not going to have the same threat, obviously, with Lamar, but I think Lamar will find a way as a competitor playing this game, and if he can't, Trace McSorley at least can go in and plug and play, and they won't have to change a ton offensively.
He's going to want to go. And listen, I'm thinking back to an NFL Live show we did when Cam Newton came back. And how many times did I text you? he looks lethargic, slow, like just his anticipation. I don't know that. I'm not trying to tell y'all, America, that I know that Lamar Jackson is going to respond that way. But if there will be signs, if he is suffering from kind of the remnants of dealing with COVID. On the flip side of that, it's Greg Roman's responsibility.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be a playoff team, if you want to have the opportunity, and look, it's the Cowboys, right? So you're not about to play world beaters. But Greg Roman has to be able to suffice while Lamar Jackson is out. We saw Kansas City without Patrick Mahomes. We watching the Saints right now without Drew Brees.
He's got to have his best game of the year.
Got to have your best game of the year. So, look, for all the pressure that may be on players, this is about Greg Roman.
Let's bring Adam Schefter back in one more time with a little more on this.
Yeah, I just want to clean up and make one point. He's playing tonight. That's not the issue, okay? Lamar Jackson is going to be out there. The question is how effective he'll be when he's out there and how long he'll be able to stay out there. In a perfect world, he plays the full game and looks like Lamar Jackson and lights it up. That's what the Ravens are hoping. But I think they don't know exactly what they're going to be getting from him tonight, and that's what makes it a big question mark going into the game.
Just a few more hours until that game. Breaking news here on NFL Live Now, and we'll continue with Adam for that. Jalen Hurts making his first NFL start Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. Carson Wentz will back up Hurts, and Eagles head coach Doug Peterson said he's looking for a spark. Hopes that can come from the rookie quarterback. Adam, we saw Hurts in a small sample size last Sunday. How did Peterson come to making this call to start Jalen Hurts?
Laura, I don't think it was a difficult decision to have to make. As much as they've invested in Carson Wentz in terms of picks and money, the fact of the matter is he's regressed this year. He's looked gangly out there. He's looked uncoordinated out there. He's looked unproductive out there. And when they put in Jalen Hurts on Sunday, he responded a little bit. The team responded a little bit, and they felt like they got a spark. Now, I don't know that Jalen Hurts is capable of taking this team to the NFC East title. We're about to find that out starting Sunday against the Saints. But they believe that the best move for this team right now that gives it the best chance to win on Sunday and perhaps even going forward is turning to Jalen Hurts. And it was not as if it was just a Doug Peterson decision. The owner, Jeffrey Lurie, believed in this decision. The other people in the organization believed in this decision. So it was time in their minds to turn to Jalen Hurts to see what he can do. Carson Wentz now goes to the bench, Laura.
All right, so we also wanted to point this out with the second week of December for Carson Wentz has not been good. You look at that, December 10th, 2017, torn ACL ends his season then. December 9th, 2018, the back injury ends his season then. And then December 8th, 2020, bench for Jalen Hurts. So second week of December in 2021, we'll see what it looks like for Carson Wentz. One of the things that I think was really important there that Adam brought up, Dan, is that Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, signing off on making this change to Jalen Hurts. Not that complicated of a decision for Doug Peterson.
I mean, the play kind of brought it to that. Listen, you guys know I'm going to be passionate about this, right? So, all right, the reason they are in this situation, the Eagles organization, everybody has their hand in it. Everybody, the general manager, the head coach, the front office for putting the roster out there, and that includes the quarterback. I mean, his play opened up the door for this decision and for this decision to be easy. If you play sports long enough, you're more than likely going to get benched, right? I've been benched before. A lot of us who have played for a long time, it happens. Number one, you have to look in the mirror and figure out why did it happen? Like, what did I do to allow this to happen? You have to take accountability of it. You have to take ownership of it. And then two, you better start quickly focusing on what to do next. You know, he's got to earn Carson Wentz has to earn the trust of his teammates back. He does. He's got to earn the trust of the head coach back, whether it's this head coach or somebody that might be next year. He's got to earn the trust of the general manager back. And it's got to be vice versa as well. And so there needs to be ownership by everybody in that organization. And I'll be frank, it has to start with Carson Wentz for this situation.
Yeah, look, I know it's breaking news and we're excited. This is normal football procedure. Dude, you're not helping us win. Like, y'all know me. It's very simple for me. A $100 million quarterback is going to get every possible excuse exhausted to not remove him from the game. Yeah. Carson Wentz just got rid of all those excuses. And look, we can pile on about his play, and we do that. We analyze, we critique, we critical at times when quarterbacks aren't playing up to speed. But to me, this is such a simple move. This didn't take an act of Congress. Turn on the film from the last 4 to 5 weeks and look at the way Carson Wentz has been playing. Jalen Hurts is not in a great position either. But Carson Wentz damn sure wasn't in one, and he wasn't showing any progression. And I think what happened between Doug Peterson, this front office, and Jeffrey Lurie is they were waiting to see if a corner would be turned.
Yeah, if you play himself out of
hoping. And now you got to go with Jalen Hurts.
All right, so Jalen Hurts, Mina, hey, welcome to the NFL, man. You're getting your first NFL start against the Saints. How tough of a matchup is that for Jalen Hurts?
Prayers up.
So I was in favor of this move. I thought Jalen Hurts did spark the offense. I thought his mobility is really key, especially with that decimated offensive line. But he is walking into the Lions' den. And not the Detroit Lions, because that would be easy. He is playing
unnecessary shot.
Toughest defense in the NFL right now. I mean, look at this. This is since week 9. 2 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Oh. And Carson Wentz would get his butt kicked against the Saints, and there's a good chance Jalen Hurts does too. Let's be real, and it's through no fault of his own. But I ask this of the fans and of the Eagles organization. Don't let this be his only start, because it's not a fair and legitimate test of his abilities, and it's not going to allow him to develop as a quarterback. It's going to be his first start, but it shouldn't be his last one.
Sal Paolantonio, as plugged in as anybody with the Eagles situation, joining us a little later with more on this quarterback situation. And we're just getting